citizen. And I'm going to try out certain things. And if it doesn't work, it's not a big deal because I'm really not a senior citizen. I was just pretending for 2 minutes. If it does work, aha. When I'm no longer a senior citizen, I'm going to keep that bit. You see what I mean? And the 2 minutes is over, and I can go back to being myself. It's a safe way to try out things that are actually pretty important. Okay, let's say you have a smaller group and you're on stage. With a bigger group like this, we're going to have some people who are pretty outgoing. I need 2 volunteers to come out and demonstrate this to everybody. Oh dear. Come on up. Bandy, and I'm going to have you go with Lydia. Okay? Have a seat. Take the dice.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to be green and orange. I want you to pretend, stay at green and orange, but I want you to pretend that you're faced with the same thing they are doing. So while they're doing it, you imagine that you're up here. Which one of you was green? Which one of you was green? You were green. What is green? Doesn't matter. Yeah, back there. We're going to have you be green now. All you greens, she's rolling this for you. Here's who you are. Let her fly. You are a young adult male. I knew that, didn't you? Probably someplace in your 20s or so. Again, you decide if you're 20, 29, 25, whatever, you're male. I don't know how macho you are or how macho you want to be, but you are a young adult male. Let's find out who you are. You are Green's brother. So you two are brothers. Guys cross their legs like that sometimes. We don't know if you're an older brother or a younger brother. We don't know if you have a close friendship with each other or if you hate each other. We don't know if you pound on each other all the time. We don't know any of this stuff. Okay? You have to create it. Do you know who you are? You're either a young adult male or you're the brother of your partner. Okay, let's find out where this conversation is going to take place.
Playing video games.
You're playing video games. Will you ever grow up? Okay, now let's find out what you're going to talk about. Whoops.
One.
Just one. I'll read the other side, more details here. I'll read it for the whole group, okay? Orange, the brother here, believes the Bible teaches that the death penalty is necessary in our evil world. The death penalty is necessary. Okay, all you oranges, raise your hand. Don't kill us, just raise your hand, okay? Okay, so you're for the death penalty. People are just gonna, if we would just kill them, then everybody would know not to do that kind of stuff. Young adult male Green insists, I shouldn't say that the Bible places a priority on forgiveness than on punishment, like the death penalty. Orange is going to start the conversation. I'll read it one more time. Are you thinking of what you would be saying? Are you thinking of what you're going to say? Okay, Orange here believes the Bible teaches the death penalty is necessary in our evil world. If the world wasn't so bad, we wouldn't need the death penalty, but it is. Green says the Bible places a higher priority on forgiveness than on punishment, like the death penalty. Orange starts, and let me get you both a microphone, not to throw at each other. Test. Want to test that? Test.
Can we switch?
Can you switch microphones or? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Sorry.
Forgive me.
Sorry.
Forgive me. I know you can't forgive me, so I'm not even going to ask, okay? All right. Here we go and begin.
Oh, that's loud. Okay. I start.
You know what, brother?
Not game, not game.
You know what?
Game.
These people that keep killing people, I think they should die.
I just died.
No, I think they should. You know what? You remember the people like in the Bible,
Yeah.
Job's sons.
Yeah.
They were very disrespectful to their father, and
Yeah.
God killed them.
Oh, but they had a chance. They had a chance.
I don't agree.
Well, they killed me, but I still want to play with them, so like we could still play with them. No,
You want to play with them?
No, okay, we're done with the game. That's all right. But these what?
These people that kill people, I think they should be killed.
But not well. See, there's cheeks that we should turn
Yeah.
for our theirs.
Right.
Let's not
I'm your
judge.
bigger
Let's
brother.
be judged.
I'm the
I don't want to
bigger
kill
brother.
anybody. Okay. We're gonna play the older brother card. All right. Well, dear brother of mine, I think iron sharpens iron, and that we should forgive because God forgave us.
You know what?
Our sins killed Jesus. Jesus doesn't want us dead.
You know what? Jesus was told by the parents to go to the temple, to the church, and he disobeyed them. He went to somewhere else.
Yes, but did Jesus' parents forgave him for leaving?
No, they were so mad. They were
but
so
they
mad.
were
But
happy that they
kill him.
found him. Wait, what?
They didn't kill him, but they were so mad.
But I don't think they wanted to kill him. So I don't think we
Can
should
I
kill.
tell you something?
Yes.
Who else was killed?
Who was killed?
Do you remember Jonah?
Yes, but he was swallowed,
He
and
was
God
swallowed.
forgave him. Look at that. He's forgiven
If
people.
God had not, if God had not forgiven him, the shark would have.
Okay, now, as a leader, you could give them more time if you wanted, or you wouldn't have to interrupt like I just did, dial thing, right? Or you could stop it and you could say, okay, now talk in your group. Take the stuff that they talked about and improve on it. Or we could open it up for discussion right now and just hear from the greens. What else would you have said? Or the oranges, what else would you have said? Okay? Because some of you are going, oh yeah, I didn't think of that one. That's a good one. And some of you are going, no, you should have said this, you should have said this. So now you're starting to share among each other. And again, I don't think you're a young adult male, and I don't think you're his brother. So you can go back to being who you are, okay? Who knows? You might actually be a nice person. You think she is, okay? Let's give them a hand, all right? Now, Brad has told me that we can't take these with us. So would one of you be willing to take this? The cards, the whole thing. Maybe I should ask it differently. Which one of you would actually use this? Neither of you? Okay. The whole thing. Advent Source is giving this to you. Which one of you is going to take this? Okay, if she gets that one, then you get this ready to roll. You ought to give it to her. She might kill you. Forgiveness. Thank you, both of you. Okay. Well, we're over time and we've covered one of the 10 things. I'm going to take a few more minutes and do a couple ones, all right? We've got to do this. Help me. Someone who knows how to shoot rubber bands. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. We'll do two more. Somebody on this side shoots rubber bands? Yep. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. Okay. Vandion, if you and Janelle can help us on this, here's what we're going to do. I mentioned that we have this book of these icebreaker activities and get acquainted activities. We're going to give this to one of you who comes close to the bullseye over there. You're so good at this? These are not rubber bands, but this part is rubber here. See that? So all you have to do is just stick your finger in the end like this. And I'm going to grab on with my side fingers here. Pull this like this. And when I let go with my right hand, it's going to fly over there. You want to see it fly? You're aiming for the bullseye. Okay. So Janelle is going to see who gets closest to the bullseye. No, that one didn't count. That one didn't count. And Vandion's going to put you where he wants to put you to shoot from, all right? Come on over here. Janelle, this is going to the person who gets the closest. Now, you know that story about William Tell where he shoots the apple off of his son? Janelle, you want to be in the middle? We'll aim just above your... I'm just teasing. No. All right, Lydia. Oh. Okay, we have to see if anybody else gets the bullseye. Way to go, Malachi. These guys spend too much time shooting rubber bands. Oh. Yeah. Because she was way far back. Okay, so who hit bullseye? 3 of you did? Okay, here's what we're going to do. Nope, we're going to give him more stuff. All right. So the 2 that did the bullseye get the come together. And one of the 3 of you, we only have 2 of the come together. So one of you get the connection, the series of steps. So the 3 of you, is that your son? No, you just know him. Okay. Eric and Jason, would you come on forward? Vandion, here's your For those of you who were here last night, I did promise that we were going to take up another offering today, and so we are. This offering is for ADRA, like what we did last night. So Jason, if you would pick up the offering and then deliver it to Eric, we have a group that decides where that goes. Here's the box of the things. So if you're willing to donate for ADRA projects, Adventist Development and Relief Agency, this would be like buying chickens or nets for fishing or helping people get an education or things like that, then just go ahead and donate. We're going to go ahead and pick that up right now. What you're going to have to do, you can take the whole box. Everybody should end up with one. Yeah. you are going to have to make a choice between 3 different things right now. 3 different things. If you're here with a group, then you should divide and conquer. That is, you should not all go to the same group. You should go to different kinds of things. And here are the 3 options that we have available for you, okay? The 3 options are a small group dialogue, a way you reward participation, and that would be choosing where this money is going to go for ADRA, because we have the ADRA gift catalog, and you can choose where that money is going to go, or actually create something yourself on the spot. We didn't bring clay or Play-Doh or things like that. You could do that, but we're going to have you write a psalm. So you're going to need to make a choice between one of these 3. Again, a small group dialogue. You can let go of your partner for this. You can choose for yourself. Choose what to do with ADRA, or write a psalm. If you're going to do the small group dialogue, I'm going to ask you to come up and sit in the front 2 pews. If you're going to decide what to do with ADRA, I'm going to ask you to meet in the back corner back there. If you're going to create something, I'm going to ask that you meet in the back corner on this side. All right? So you need to choose one of those 3 things for the next 10 minutes. Small group dialogue, come up here. Choose what to do with the ADRA money, go to the back. Create a psalm to the back over there. Choose one of those 3, please. The psalm is in the back there with Vandy on it. Do you want to do something different? All right. We're ready for the groups to come together. Psalm people. Randy, can you have an example or two? Eric, are you ready to have somebody report from your group? No, not yet. Okay.
So we have three people.
Okay.
Should I? Is everybody? They probably haven't. They know what this is or not?
You want to explain it to them?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. No,
Can we have this mic turned on, the green one? Green mic?
Happy to be here. Greetings. All right. So we did what's called the Psalm creation. Has anyone ever been touched by reading the Psalms? Have you read through the Psalms, right? And you've read that and said, wow, I know what they're going through, right? All right, so we had a little activity, has a little framework here to help us understand the Psalms better. So we go back and read the Psalms. We even get a better idea because we wrote one. All right, so we have three people who are willing to come up and share their Psalm. So introduce yourself. They probably know you already, and then share your Psalm with them. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alex, and this is what my psalm says. God is so good to me. He is my great provider. Through everything I've done to him, through thick and thin, he will never leave me nor forsake me. And I cried out to the Lord. My heart is aching with me, but he is my hope, he is my rock, and he is my salvation. He is the Lord, forever I am faithful.
Wow. Wow. Amen. Wow.
All right. I cried out to the Lord. In my chamber I wept. Why do I lament when he is my life cord? Why am I alone? Where are my friends? Though there's Facebook and WhatsApp and else, my heart yearns for love.
Wow.
I am Salome. I cried out to the Lord. He died and saved. Despite my toil and anguish, he loves and cares. God is good to me. His mercy is full. Though I ran away, he brings me back.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Now, Randy, you let out with this. You're an educator. How long have you been writing Psalms?
I started last night. So it took someone experienced, really, to lead out on this. You can understand. Okay.
So he has a background being an educator. He experienced something one time, and he's already teaching other people how to do that. Okay? So I just want you to recognize that God just needs tools.
Amen. Amen.
He's the master.
Yeah. I've been told I've been called other names similar to a tool. Yes. No, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank
Randy.
you.
Thank you. Okay. Last night, Vandion led out in the psalm creation, and Randy was one of the people who shared one of his psalms last night. And so Vandion asked him if he would lead out today, and he did. Could your youth ever lead out in something? How old do you have to be before you can start to lead? Yeah. Okay. Something happened that I did not anticipate happening. Actually, several things. I did not expect that the ADRA gift catalog would attract so many people. Out of the three groups, that one attracted the most. And then they didn't have enough money So they came around and solicited for more money. 3 times, okay? I can hardly wait to find out where this is going to be allocated. Now, here's something that's a little bit strange. Money is strange. I get to do mission trips 2 or 3 a year through Maranatha. And as I go from country to country, they have different currencies. And I've come to believe that money is just funny paper with pictures of dead people on it, with numbers, with zeros. So I was in the country of Chile, and I can't even remember the currency in Chile. Is it pesos? Okay. But the exchange rate was very high. I was getting millions of pesos. And our cook said, I need to go shopping to get some more food. And I had 100,000 peso bills. No, I'm sorry, I had 10,000 peso bills, 10,000. And so I gave her, I think, 200,000 or 300,000. And she goes, give me another 100,000. And I went, okay. And I gave her another 100,000. I thought, I just whipped out another 100,000 and gave it to you? Because you said, yeah, give me another 100,000. What is this stuff? And I go into the market, I give people this funny money, and it's not that much different from Monopoly. And they give me stuff for this funny money. Crazy. Zimbabwe. The money went so crazy that you needed a wheelbarrow to go buy a loaf of bread. I was over there, they finally did away with their money, and they're using US dollars as their money. So somebody has collected their money that's not worth anything, and they're selling it for dollars. So I got $5 trillion for only 50 cents. I thought I got a bargain. But it's, I got ripped off. And you look on it, you see all these zeros, and it's just money. What a joke, right? Well, for some reason, it means things to us. So now, if you want to make a difference in a teenager's life, take this ADRA gift catalog and have your youth group, not you, but the youth group, come up with what the project is going to be. Okay? Let them look through the catalog. Eric, do we have any more of the catalogs left? How can we get them? They're up here in a box, okay? So we're going to put them out here, the ADRA gift catalog. You can also go online, adra.org, and get the gift catalog. But have your kids come up with what the project is going to be. And we're talking, there's some of them are only $10, $12. And you say, for the next month, this is going to be our project, bring money in. And when the money has come in, now have them pay for it. Have a credit that. This is one of the benefits of being a Seventh-day Adventist, is you have a direct connection with ADRA. Somebody just ordered a book for me from China. The book cost $15. To ship it cost $23. So if I want to get chicks over to Africa or over to India, I can go get the chicks, but it's going to cost a lot more to ship the chicks over there, right? With ADRA, I can just go online, make a payment on my credit card. They have the connections over there. The money goes directly over there. They buy the chicks over there. You don't have all that shipping stuff. So it's much more efficient. You can make a difference right now. Right now. So empower your kids not only to choose what to do, but also to go ahead and do it. If they don't have a credit card, you show them how to do it with your credit card. Don't let them memorize your credit card number, but have them be your accountability person. So you are taking the cash from the church and the teenager is helping you fund it. And then you say, I'm going to take this money and put it in my bank account because it's going to show up on my credit card. Does that make sense? And I have to reimburse myself. But I want you to see that the money got spent this way. In the same way, if your church is going to do evangelism, and it has a budget of, let's say, $1,000. $1,000. Take a tithe of that, 1/10, which would be $100, and you get the youth together and say, our evangelism budget has said, we want you to decide what's the best way to reach other people with the gospel with this $100. What do you think is the best way? And have them brainstorm how to spend that money. $100 seems more to a 15-year-old than it does to a 50-year-old. So empower them. You can say, be sure to pray for this. Yeah. You give them the money, now they're going to start praying. Because now it means it's serious if you're actually going to put some money with it. Okay? All right, so let's find out what happened with the ADRA group. We're on green again. Are you here to ask for more money?
If people want to give more money, I will ask for more money.
Good for you.
I don't mind. So we want to thank you guys for helping us out. We have raised $200.
All right.
We decided that we were going to help an orphan for a year. That cost us $100. We decided to provide seedlings on a solar-powered greenhouse. That cost $50. We've also decided to provide pure water for one person. That cost $30. And we decided to help protect one child from polio, and that cost us $20.
Wow. Hallelujah. Now, before you go, this hat was used, and I don't see any money left. So who has the money? You have the money.
Yes.
Are you the one who's going to do this?
I don't know. If you want me to, I
Are you
can.
willing to do that? You have a credit card so you can pay?
I have a credit card that I can
If
pay.
you're willing to do that, then you keep the money.
Okay.
And I need you to check in with somebody else here just to verify that you've done that. Who would be the person that you should check in with?
I don't know Curtis.
What church do you attend?
Sheboygan,
Is there somebody here from Sheboygan? Only one.
my sister and my mom.
Do you trust your mother?
Yeah.
Okay. You let her know when you've done it, okay?
Okay.
And we want you to take that $200 and apply it where the group decided to do.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah. With 40?
We had $47 and we went out 3 more times and got it up to 200.
I need you to distribute this to anybody who wants a copy of the ADRA gift catalog. We have ADRA sent these to us, so who would like one of these?
You want me to just take one?
Sure, just take the whole thing. You might have another cause, and that's fine. I like ADRA because the money goes right there and it starts making a difference right away. I'm an Adventist. They're connected. They help with disaster. They help with ongoing kinds of things. You go. All right. Provide options. Provide options. I do not like to play the silly games. I want to have deep conversations, but we have to go through the silly games first, okay? I wish we could just go deeper. I found a way to go deeper, faster. And here's why it's hard to go deep right away. I feel put on the spot. If I really want to put somebody on the spot, Elder, what's your name? Ronald. I would call Ronald up in front and interview him in front of everybody and ask him really deep questions. And Ronald might be able to handle that, but most people wouldn't. So we have to first of all talk about what's your name, what do you do? And if you had $100, what would you spend it? And what are you going to do this Christmas? And before you can finally warm up. But I found out if I give people choice, they can go deeper faster. So I have all of these cards with questions on them. And you can go deeper faster just by having people choose for themselves instead of me making them. Choose a card. She won't take the one I have stuck out because it's her choice. Now, with that, she has this card, And let me show you a little bit what these kinds of cards look like. They look like this. And each card has 2 questions on them. So you have even more time and more power to choose. You don't have to answer the first one. You can answer the second one if you would rather. So what you see on the screen is, why do bad things happen to good people? That's not a simple question. That's a deep one. If I don't want to answer that one, then I'll go to the second one. What makes a person good? What makes a person bad? Let's find out what your questions were on the ones that you chose for yourself.
What makes Christianity boring?
What makes Christianity boring? I'm glad I didn't ask her that. She chose that. If you don't want that question, what's the other one?
What makes Christianity fun?
What makes Christianity fun? You can see the 2 questions are kind of related to each other, right? And right now, you're either thinking, thank you, Jesus, he didn't make me do this. Or you're thinking, how would I answer that? You get to answer one of them. Which one of the 2 that you picked do you want to answer?
The what makes Christianity fun?
Okay, and how would you answer that?
Like doing stuff like we're doing right now.
Oh,
Playing games.
playing games. Okay, here are the rest of them, okay? Yeah. An idea of some of them up there. You can see the different examples right there. And it's called Q for You. Q for You. So, see the Q for You? Questions for you? I've had several people say, would you please give me the answer key? And the answer is start praying. Start praying. Okay. Empowered to teach. When Randy went ahead and after one time doing it, he did it. Okay? If you want your young people to really learn, have them teach. Because when you teach, that's when you really learn. Vandion, Jason, Eric, you're all preachers. When you prepare a sermon, does that get to you? When you preach a sermon, preparing a sermon? I mean, I've been so blessed by some of my sermons. Nobody else was, but I was in preparing it and just being immersed in it. So you do that with your young people. You have them teach. And maybe you don't have them teach the whole thing. They start off teaching just a portion of it. And you are working with them on it, okay? But they are starting to work on this themselves. All right. Okay. We need to take a break. So what we're going to do, according to the clock on the wall back there, it's almost 4 o'clock. Almost 4 o'clock. We will start up again at 4:15. 4:15. I would suggest that no matter what the weather's like, you go outside and get some fresh air. I would also suggest you find a bathroom somewhere. And as we heard from the pastor, they send out search parties every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. So if you get lost in trying to find a bathroom, we'll find you by Wednesday, okay? And we'll start up again here at 4:15. 4:15. Thank you. Test. All right, here we go. That was quick, wasn't it? We just got going. My last name is Case. I was a youth pastor in Northern California, and there was a young lady in our youth group. Her last name was Case. We were not related at all. Not related at all. And she went to school across the country. I live in California. She went back east and went to school, and she would come back home for the holidays, and I would see her at church and stuff. And she said, I warned her, the Adventist world is kind of small, so there might be times you'll show up someplace and people, oh, are you related to Steve Case? And I just have to warn you that sometimes it's better to say, I've never heard of the guy. You need to find out what they think of Steve Case first, okay? And she goes, oh, Pastor Steve, that's never going to happen. And so every once in a while when I'd see her, how's it going? Fine. You know, you told me to make sure that I just don't identify with the name Case and stuff. It's no big deal, except for one time. She said, Pastor Steve, you would not believe it. I was visiting this church, and I went to the youth Sabbath school, and they said, here's Insight Magazine. Insight Magazine is this thing called On the Case, where young people ask Pastor Case a question, and he's on the case, and he writes an answer. And they said, let's read what Insight Magazine says, and then let's find out what the real answer is. She said, Pastor Steve, they think you're the devil. And I said, they're not the only ones. I told you there are people who think that. She goes, it was scary. I said, well, yeah, it's always scary when you're around the devil. Boo! Anyway, Insight Magazine doesn't exist anymore. Did you know that? It stopped a year and a half ago, so it's no longer in publication. But back when it was, I would send in these questions, and what would happen is a young person would ask, would send it to Insight. Insight would send it to me. I would come up with some kind of answer, send it to them. They would edit it. They would go out and take a picture to go with the Insight Magazine article, and then they would print it, and then they would ship it out to the places so it could get there in time to be distributed. So from the time the person first asked the question until the time it came out in Insight, it was about 6 months. They weren't asking the question anymore. But hopefully somebody else was asking the question and they would benefit from it. So after several years of doing this, Advent Source took all of these questions and put them into one book. So here's a whole collection of these questions that young people have had over the years about God and life and things like that. So you can find out right away what the devil has said about these kinds of things. Yeah. Okay, we need to give away some of this stuff because Brad can't take it with him. So I need a representative from every church that is present to come forward. So who's the representative from your church? Please come forward. It's you? I've got something special for the pastor. Okay, so Brad, if you'll take them over to the Advent Source booth and stuff, they provide for all ages a number of resources. So Brad has a catalog here that is just youth ministry stuff. There are other things, he has other catalogs as well besides youth ministry. But come on over to him, and you want me to describe what it is? Okay, what he's holding up right now, it's my choice, is baptismal preparation. The most common age to be baptized, if you grew up in the Adventist Church in North America, is 11. The second most common age is 10. The third most common age is 12. And the fourth most common age is 9. So these are designed for people who are thinking at that level. I would recommend that for your teens, there's a teacher's guide. He's holding up right now 52 relational Bible studies. By relational, this means we have to say, how does this relate to me, rather than say the right answer is this. So instead of saying what day of the week is the Sabbath, it says, what does the Sabbath mean to you? Okay, so that's what that one is about. We have this one too. Who wants this one? He has one of them also. Does somebody else want this one? She'll take it. Right here. Mission Lifeguard is a plan for reaching out to missing young people, those who aren't attending church anymore. Who would like that? Okay. The book Christ Object Lessons. In the very first chapter, the sower went forth to sow, and Ellen White says, while Jesus was telling this parable, there was a sower on the field who was sowing right there. So this takes what happens on a mission trip and makes it a metaphor for the good news of the kingdom of God. There's also a set of questions like the Q for You, but geared for mission trip settings. Any mission trip people? Nope. Okay, just go ahead and set aside. Tips for youth leaders. The North American Division asked me to write a book for youth leaders who don't read. That doesn't mean you don't read. I was so flattered. They want me to write something for people to read. And I know what they meant. They meant that most youth leaders don't take the time or have the time to do much reading, so it's a bunch of cartoons. You can go through it through one sitting on the pot. Okay, timeout is devotions for teens. Anybody want devotions for teens? I think there are 40 of them there. Nope. Okay. Jesus in Revelation. Yes. How to find Jesus in the book of Revelation. This little pamphlet, 72 pages, gives you 7 keys to how to find Jesus in Revelation. This is a place to belong. This is if you wanted to do your own youth ministry training. This has 6 sessions in it right here. And this is a Revelation coloring book. What? A Revelation coloring book? Yes. Did you know that adults color now? And what do we have left? Starting discussions. That's what this next session is. We're not going to cover the whole thing. That DVD covers the whole thing. I like to get to know you cards. Set of 2. Yes, right here. Mm-hmm. We have T-shirts over here. The Wisconsin Conference has T-shirts for the Ignite. They're planning to do this same training in other parts of the conference. Who does not have a T-shirt like? And you have small, medium, and large still? We gave them out last night. If you did not get one last night, come on up here. Small, medium, large, Ignite T-shirt. Here she comes. Okay? All right. It was a good thing we took a break. It gave people a chance to air out and fly away. What we should do, Bandion, maybe. I'm going to give that to the pastor. Sorry.
That's the one I wanted.
That's the one you wanted. Well, you can get it if you can wrestle the pastor for it. Okay? This is an anonymous evaluation. We simply value input. It helps us to make some changes on things to try to hit the bullseye in the middle. The first few questions you can answer right now. We have done 3 of the 6 training sessions in the middle of the page. Initiate was this morning during Sabbath school. Give and Take was simply the website that I showed you. We didn't spend much time on that. And our last one, we spent a lot of time on Need, looking for different participatory activities that you could do in Sabbath school. You could also respond to the things at them. And we will go ahead and combine sessions 4 and 5 into the next hour, and then we'll have session 6. We have one more thing to give to you. This is in case you can't remember the website, youthsabbathschoolideas.org. It's on the front and back. You also have this bright neon green. It's sticky on the back. If you want to peel it off, you can put it on your forehead, and it's the mark of the beast. You can put it on your car, your bumper sticker. Oh, we just want you to be aware of this. Van Dion has 5 more of these cartoon books of the tips for youth leaders. If you smile at him really nice, he'll give you one. Did you get the box? You got the other ones.
Oh, I gave it to my son.
Okay, this one was left over. That goes with it. It was a nice smile, apparently. Brad gave away the It's My Choice baptismal preparation. This was revised this year. It was done back in '96. My spouse was doing baptismal preparation. My spouse is a pastor. Now that throws things off, doesn't it? Because, wait, if my spouse is a pastor, that would be a female pastor, right? My spouse is an ordained Seventh-day Adventist minister. Wait, so if it's not a female, but it's my spouse, then that's another issue, isn't it? Anyway, my spouse said, some of these things don't work. So I said, well, you just don't know what you're doing. I said it in a nice way. And she said, well, why don't you come and teach my baptismal class for me? So I did. And I went and showed her how to do it. Well, it turned out she had a bad group, and so it didn't work. That wasn't supposed to be funny. So I explained to her that she had a bad group, and she said, fine, the next time I do it, why don't you come? So I did, and would you believe it? She had another bad group. So after 2 bad groups, I thought maybe I should listen to what my spouse has to say. So I all of the slides and redid them. And this is the improved version. So if there's somebody here who would like to prepare young people for baptism, here it is. Come and get it. And there's a picture of my spouse on the back. Yes, Marit. Does that help? You know the gender? Marit. M-A-R-I-T. Marit. Oh, I snuck it out. Okay, very good. All right. And then we have one more thing from Brad. I pulled this aside so he didn't have it. This is called Out of the Hat. This is another way to start discussions. And you literally have a hat. So you know the reason why there's a hat is so that people have the choice themselves. You're not forcing it on them. They get to pick and choose. So there's a whole bunch of circle questions here with things that are lighthearted. Would you rather live in the mountains or by the ocean? When you have some free time, what do you like to do? Name 3 qualities you admire in your parents, so on and so forth. So that's the circle ones. The square ones are deeper ones, like, what's an example of when life has been unfair to you? If the earth is destroyed, what do you think could be 2 possible causes? Would you rather be wealthy or happy, and why? So those are the square ones, and then we have some octagons, the stop sign, and these are the spiritual questions. So they draw it out of a hat, and they draw out something like, what's an example of a religious belief that is difficult for you? What is the purpose of religion? Some say that God is like a crutch for weak people. Got to rely on him. What do you think? Who won't go to heaven? And what do you base that on? So anyway, there are those questions in this hat. And Brad wants to give this away to somebody who could use this. Who could use this? Come on up, Malachi. All right. So those of you who were here last night, you remember that, you're welcome. One of our purposes is to try to give you some tools you can use starting next week. Do you have some tools now? Okay, we also want to give you some principles that will last beyond next week. And that's what this session is going to be on. Principles that can go on week after week after week. And then we also want some inspiration. I hope you've been inspired some now. Jason's going to wrap it up for us at the end with some more inspiration. Vandion gave us some this morning. But right now, some principles. I'm on page 33 of your participants guide. Page 33. And this has discussion. How in the world can you have a good discussion? I find over and over that young people like to be involved in good discussions. So when I start a discussion, I'm looking at them and they don't say anything. And I'm so frustrated. I know afterwards I'll say, you told me that you like good discussions, and I asked the question and you wouldn't say anything. What's with that? Oh, I do like good discussions, but it wasn't started yet. Once it gets started, then I'll jump in. Well, it's not going to start unless somebody starts it. I can't have a discussion with myself. They'll cart me off to the funny farm, okay? So I need some help getting started. So our focus right now is just on starting the discussion. It's not the whole discussion. It's just getting the ball rolling. How can you start the discussion? And there are 2 key principles for that, okay? Here they are. Principle number 1. You need the young people to be willing to make a small commitment. Notice, but it is a small one. Commitment is really difficult for people, especially young people. But you're only asking for a small commitment. This is not life and death. This is not a matter of get with a partner and you're going to be married with that person for the rest of your life. Those are big commitments. We're looking for a small commitment. Would you be willing to talk to somebody for 20 seconds? Okay, I'm up for that. Not 21? No, just 20. We need to have variance, or that is variety. If we don't have any variety, then there's really nothing to talk about. Let me give you an example. How many of you think that the seventh day of the week is the Sabbath? Raise your hand. Okay, how many think the first day of the week is the Sabbath? See, we don't have variance. So there's really nothing to talk about, is there? If I was in another church that was a Sunday keeping church, and I asked the same question, how many of you think the seventh day of the week is the Sabbath? How many would raise their hands? Probably not any. How many would say the first day of the week is the Sabbath? Most of them. Now, it depends on the group. There are some Sunday keeping churches with people who think that the seventh day of the week is the Sabbath. So if we had both groups combined, now we would have something to talk about, right? So if I ask the question, what day of the week is the Sabbath? We're not going to have a discussion, are we? Because we don't have variance. But if I ask this question, what is a good activity to do on Sabbath? Are we going to get variance now? Okay, so just by changing the question so that there's variance, it makes it more likely there's going to be discussion. So you got the two key principles? We're going to try just a few of them. There are 10 of them in your book. So I'm moving over to page 34. 34. Here's one example. One example of how to start discussions. And it's called voting. Voting. And you can see here we have across the bottom SA, A, P, D, and SD, which stands for S is strongly agree. Got it? A is agree, P is pass or undecided, D is disagree, and SD would be strongly disagree, okay? Now, you can do this on paper, but you can also do it with motions. So let's try this. Do you have your hands free? Both hands out in front, thumbs up, and pumping. That would be strongly agree. Does that make sense? Agree, just thumbs up. Pass or undecided, we'll just fold our arms. Disagree and strongly disagree. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a statement. I'll read it through twice, and after the second one, I'm going to ask you to actually do the motion. So here it is. My desire for Jesus to return to earth is stronger in my life. Notice that this is not, you ready to vote? I'll read it one more time and then you do the voting. My desire for Jesus to return to earth is stronger right now than at any other time in my life. How do you vote? So we have strongly agree, we have agree. Do we have any passes? Do we have any disagrees? No. Okay, this is not a well-worded question for this group. All we have is strongly agree and agree. We don't have enough variance here, okay? If we change this, I'm going to make it in the future. My desire for Jesus to return to earth will be stronger now than it is right now. We don't know for sure if we'll even be here in 10 years. We don't know what we're going to do in 10 years. But I'm going to change it that way 10 years from now compared to right now. Are you ready to vote? My desire for Jesus to return to earth will be stronger 10 years from now than it is right now. How do you vote on that? Okay, only agree, we have a disagree, another disagree. Do we have any pass? Yeah, we got several passes. Okay, now we have some variety, okay? Let's start off with the ones who are saying pass. What are some of your reasons? Don't know the future. How am I supposed to know? I may want it, but I really don't know. Any others that pass? What's your reason? So you're not going to get all hyped up about it, okay? For those of you who strongly agreed, why do you strongly agree?
see what's being called safety zone, I'm very distressed by it, and I just see it escalating. And I feel sorry for anybody that's going to be coming up with it. It's just more and more violent.
So you see that the world is getting worse and worse. So while you want Jesus to come now, as it gets worse, you want him to come more. Okay? Now we have some more things, and we've not even gotten to the disagree. And you know what? I'm going to cut off the discussion. Why? Because we're looking at how to start the discussion. And we're off and going now, all right? You understand how this works? Well, then let's try it. You have space on your page, on page 34, right? Do you see the blank there? Go ahead and write your own statement. What would be a statement that you could use in your Sabbath school? You can pick the topic where you think that it would take a small commitment and there would be a variance of responses. So as they vote, you would get a spread of votes, not everybody voting the same. Are you ready? Go ahead. Start writing or creating. Okay, who's willing to give us your example? I'm on the green mic here. Somebody willing to read off theirs? I'll come to where you are. Sure, thanks. I'll give you another one, Pastor. We'll give you orange. Let's see, that is the young adult brother. Okay. Okay, here's your statement for the voting. Go ahead.
Do you agree that sin has increased because of lack of knowledge?
Okay, you don't need to say, do you agree? Because we already have agree or disagree. So take that away and state it without that part again.
Sin has increased because of lack of knowledge. Do you
Sin
agree or
has
disagree?
increased because of a lack of knowledge. Are you ready to vote on that one? Sin has increased because of a lack of knowledge. How do you vote? We got thumbs up and pumping, we have pass, we have just agree, we have disagree. We got a variety of responses right here with that, and now we're ready to discuss it. Thank you. Thank you. And you can change that one from sin has increased because of a lack of knowledge, you could change from a lack of knowledge to a lack of living the Christian life. Now you're going from knowledge to living. But you have a good question. I'm just throwing in another one. Thank you. Somebody else, an example you have. Right over here. Okay, here's another example.
It's okay to go to a birthday party for one of your non-Adventist friends on a Friday evening if your friend promises there will be no drinking there.
Okay, this is a long one. This is a long one. It's potent. I could see making it several. Okay, so the first one is, it's okay. No, let's not say okay. Let's say it would be good to go to a birthday party on Friday night. And you discuss it and stuff, and now you say, okay, now let's take the same question but tweak it a little bit. Now we're going to say, if there's no drinking at the birthday party. Let's try it another way. If it's an non-Adventist friend. And so now you're taking the same question and coming at it kind of different ways. I'm not saying that's why you have to do it, but you have such a loaded statement. I would rather break it into bite-sized pieces because you have so much there. But you got the idea, right?
That's good.
Now, do you realize that you can take any topic? Right now, when you use an adult lesson study or other lesson studies, they ask you a question. It's usually a yes, no kind of answer or a one statement kind of answer. And this is looking for a variety, so now you can discuss this. And it turns out that I may strongly agree and you may strongly disagree for the same reasons. Really? So you're the opposite, but we believe the same? And someone you believe the same with may pass while you are agreeing. And all of a sudden, I have to start listening and understanding better than just the rote memorization. Okay, let's go on to number 2. Those are good examples. Number 2 is a continuum. A continuum. So if you can imagine, we'll do it here. A continuum is simply a line, okay? From one extreme, and we'll call this yes, and the other extreme would be no. What if I'm in the middle? That's not yes, it's not no, I'm sitting on the fence. Okay? I'm a little bit more towards yes, but not completely towards the yes. We could also change the extremes from yes and no to do something like right or wrong. Okay? So you have your continuum with the extremes, but you have all this space in the middle. You need to come up with a statement. Here's a statement as an example. How well do you know the Bible? Well, let's find out what the extremes are. Okay? Here's one combination. You could say this extreme is well, this extreme is not well. So we're going to take the people here on the front row and the 3 of you. If you'd all come up here right now, please. Stand. So you can see it right here. That wall is not well. That wall is well. Imagine a line between the two. Where would you place yourself on the continuum on how well do you know the Bible? Well, not well, someplace in between. While they're doing that, you can be asking yourself, where would you place yourself? Now, I've done this with people where it's a sheet of paper and they put a mark on it. And I've found that when a group does the same line, it changes the dynamic. It's like, wait, you put yourself there? Oh, well, then I'm going to go over here because I would have put myself here, but if you're there, and so now it changes it. Now, what does this tell you about these people? Not much. So you have to find out. Wait, are you two on the same spot on the line? Maybe.
I have no idea what her knowledge of the Bible is.
Bring up the mic. Let's find out. So why are you standing here? And why are you standing here? You're first.
I believe my knowledge of the Bible is a lifelong process. And I'd like to think this about how far along the line I am.
Okay.
And I'm hoping to get real far. This is my plan over here, but I'm not here yet.
Okay, that's the direction you're going.
Well, if you've reversed it once, but if we're going to well, then I intend to get that direction.
Okay? Very good. And you're in the same position because,
Oh, I ditto what she said. But for sure, I know that I don't know as much as I should know, could know, and hope to know.
so why aren't you against the wall?
But yeah, well, that's true. I mean, it's like I said, work in progress. Work in progress.
It's a work in progress. Now, I'm dying to find out why these people are here. And I especially want to know why our preacher is the furthest to the left. But we're just starting discussions. We're not actually going to have the discussion, so I'm going to move on. Oh, this is killing me. This is killing me. We could change the extremes to something like this. Bible brain on one end and what's the Bible? Don't know what it is on it. You can come up with your own. In fact, let's do that. You have space. You have space on page 35, right? So go ahead and come up with your own statement, and you can choose your own extremes. Yes, you can. You can ask them on the break. Don't you want your young people to say, can we talk about this some more? Some people can come up with these on their own, just lickety split. I'm the kind that has to take time and sit down and ponder it for a while and write it and rewrite it, change the two extremes. Does anybody have an example of one they're willing to share with us? Right over here. Thank you. Go ahead and give us the two extremes, first of all, and then the statement. So what are the two extremes?
Not like Jesus
Not like Jesus is one extreme.
or his twin brother.
His twin brother. So that would be like Jesus' twin brother type of thing, okay? Very good. Oh, and now we need to find out what the statement is.
How much like Jesus do you feel you are?
How much like Jesus do you feel that you are? Not like Jesus, I'm his twin. Yeah, wow. And you could put yourself any place along there, but then you need to know why did you put it there. So having the spot is one thing, but the why is really where you get into the discussion. Thank you, that's a good example, right here. Orange, are we on orange?
Hello? Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, mine is kind of a three-part.
Okay,
And I have the scale is forgive or unforgiving.
forgiving or unforgiving?
Okay,
Okay.
so how well are you at forgiving your friend? And then I would ask, how well are you at forgiving a family member? And then how well are you at forgiving yourself?
Ooh. Yeah. So here's the topic of forgiveness, and you have several different possibilities on these, and these again are to launch the discussion. Thank you.
So my end of the continuum is God is love,
God is love on one end.
and we need to be protected from him.
We need to,
Be protected from him.
oh, so he's love on one side, but we have to be protected from him on the other side. Okay.
God is like a policeman in the sky, just watching for you to screw up so he can get you in trouble.
Wow. That sounds more like a voting one to me. Agree, disagree, and so on and so forth. What if we, tell me the extremes again?
God is love.
God is love.
We need to be protected from him.
We need to be protected from him. What if for the statement you said, my perception of God is love, or I need to be protected from him? When I have messed up, my perception of God is when I'm doing well spiritually, my perception of God is when I'm on a plateau, my perception of God is. Yours was so long, I had a hard time following it, but I'm not that smart. Read it again.
God is like a police for you to screw. He can get you in trouble.
Okay? That statement sounds like it's already over towards one end to me. So I think you have that in your one extreme. I'm sorry, it would have been that extreme, right? The policeman, or he's the vengeful God that's going to punish you. But your statement doesn't sound like God is love at all. I'm just going to fight you, okay? And I don't want to do that. So I think your statement would work for a voting, but I think that you need to simplify it on the continuum that you have set up.
Easily persuaded against your beliefs.
You're easily persuaded against your beliefs, okay? You're a chameleon.
And on the other side, you have strongly devoted to your beliefs.
Okay.
And
now, what's the statement going to be?
The statement is, I don't know the best way to say this, but I'm very comfortable dating a non-Adventist person.
Amen.
Oh.
Amen.
So there you have the dating one. Yeah. And that could launch us onto all kinds of things. Wow. My experience with dating someone who's not of my faith has been, and there are many varieties on this. By the way, as you do this, there's no reason you can't have one or two young people work with you in creating them. And they can say, well, let's do it this way, or let's change this. And you can come up with this together. And now when you have Sabbath school, they are bought into it because they helped create it. And maybe the next step is they lead the discussion on that one. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to move on. This is great. Another tool for your tool bag is to do ranking. Ranking is on page 36. I like this one myself. With this one, you need 3 or more options. 3 or more options, and you're going to put them from number 1, 2, 3, 4. They should all be good, or they should all be equally bad. For example, if you said, the person I can trust the most is Jesus, Satan, or my mother-in-law. The person I can trust the most is Jesus, Satan, or my mother-in-law. All equally good or all equally bad. They're spread out too much, right? You want them to really compete with each other because 2 of the 3 are the same. So you what? Jesus and your mother-in-law are the same. What were you thinking? Oh, you're terrible. Yes, okay, thank you very much. Okay. So you have this example in your booklet. What is the best age to be? Birth to 12, your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50 plus. So here you have 6 options. So which would you put as number 1? So go ahead and do it on your sheet right there. Out of those 6, which would you put as the best age to be? What would you put as number 2? What would you put as number 3? All the way to number 6. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to go ahead and work this out, okay? Give it a shot. It could also be valuable to see if it's different from one age group to another. Okay, which one is number one for ranking? All of them can't do that. You have to choose them. Which one's going to be? They're all good. 20s. How many had 20s as number one? Okay, if you didn't have 20s, what did you have? 40s. How many had 40s? Okay, now we have a variety of ages that are choosing 40s. Birth to 12. How many had children? Okay, we have several of them for that number one. What was number 6? How many had teens as number 6? Oh, how many had teens for number 1? Okay, we have teens for number 1. So now we need to explain why we chose these different ones. But the idea here is that it's not that one of them is bad. They're all equally good, and that's why you say, well, they're all good. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, I want you to have to separate them. Separation, what makes this one a little bit better? Because if they're all the same, then there's really nothing to talk about. There's no variance. Okay? Here's another one. Who would you go to if you had a problem? A self-righteous person? I don't think so. A dishonest politician? I don't think so. A drug dealer? I don't think so. A gang leader? I don't think so. We've picked out 4 that are, what should I say, equally bad? But out of these equally bad ones, who's your number 1 that you would go to problem? Who's your number 2? Who's your number 3? And who's your number 4? Did you do it? It's right there in your booklet. We're just wanting to illustrate that you can do this with equally good things or equally bad things. All right, how would you answer? What's number 1 for who'd you go to with a problem? How many did the self-righteous as number 1? Just a few. How many put down the dishonest politician? Few of you. Okay, how many put the drug dealer for number 1? Okay, we got several of you. How many had the gang leader for? Oh, we got lots of gang leader people. Okay, now we need to find out why, right? So let's just go with the gang leader. For those who answered the gang leader, why did you pick it? What's your problem? Whatever it is, they'll take care of it. I tell you, man, we'll take care of your problem, okay? Okay, you had a gang leader because they're family. Yeah, I have a family like that. And what you could do is you could put people together who put gang leader number 1 and somebody who's drug dealer number 1 and somebody who put dishonest politician number 1 and somebody who put self-righteous person and have them hash it out and come up with a group decision, okay? And we found that everybody did the prostitute. Wait, I should say it differently. Everybody picked the prostitute first. And it wasn't a real copying out. They were basically saying, well, I would help her is what I'm. No, it says you have a problem, not she has a problem. You got the problem. Oh yeah, but I would help her. So we just took it away and put this on instead. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or that she was, the other thing they said is she was forced into it.
She's really a nice person. Ready to do your own? Come up with your statement and then make the 3 or more equally good or 3 or more equally bad.
There's so many ideas coming to mind.
Sounds like it. Somebody willing to share with us what you have? You can do this physically with a piece of paper, but you can also have objects and you can move them on a ladder or stair step them some way and say which one's top, next, and on down, step them. Any examples? We got one here. Go ahead and give us the options first, and then we'll go ahead and find out what the statement is.
Oh, really? Okay. Your 10-year-old sibling, your mother in a traffic jam, your grandmother who's hard of hearing, or your friend playing a video game.
Oh, so what's the statement going to be?
Who would be better at listening to your problem?
Oh, who would be better at listening to your problems? Or who would be best at listening to your problems? And now you have to pick a number one, a number two. Oh my. Yeah, that's a good one. Anybody else? Yeah, faster.
Your pastor, your fiance, or your best friend.
Okay, pastor, fiance, or best friend. What's the statement going to be?
You only have one extra Packer ticket. Who do you invite to the game?
Do we're going to have some down to, nope, not that one either. Oh dear. Skip. These are all in your booklet. I like this one, the either or. The either or is like the continuum. Remember the continuum? But you take away the line. And all you have are the aims. And we never go to the extremes, or hardly ever go to the extremes. But this is push you. If you're just a little bit this side, you have to go all the way to the extreme. If you're just on this side, all the way to the extreme. That's what makes it hard, okay? So here we go. Old people or young people? Old people or young people? There's all kinds of statements you can put in there. Here goes, who is smarter? Young people. How many would pick old people? Who's smarter? Old people. I didn't say. So when a question like this comes up, and it's a good question, what makes a person young, what makes them old? Instead of giving an answer, I will say, you decide. You decide what it is, okay? And then they'll say, but I have to, you have to let me explain it. Oh, okay. In other words, you're going to discuss this? Great, great. But you decide what old is, you decide what young is. Okay, but I get to go first, okay? I need, okay? Hallelujah, great. How many put that young people are smart? So, and how many put older people are smarter? Okay, so now we're split. What I would do then is I would have them actually move to one side of the room and the other side of the room, and I'd say, you have 3 minutes to come up with the top 3 reasons why old people are smarter or why young people are smarter. Now, if you have more than 5 or 6 people in a group, I would divide them up and have 2 groups and have them come up with it themselves separately so that they have more participation. Then they get to report their top 3 reasons, and sometimes these people will start interrupting them. Wait. Just let them give their reasons, okay? And they're just wanting to discuss it back and forth, and you're thinking, my goodness, what have I unleashed here? Okay, Vandion, this is for us as pastors. What you believe or how you live. Here's a statement. Which matters more for your salvation? What you believe or how you live? How many of you put down what you believe is more important for your salvation? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it's becoming popular. 8. Okay, how you live. How many would you put that? Okay, so we have a good split here, don't we? Oh, man, it would be good to discuss this. We are just starting it, but we're not going to have it. Ephesians 2, 8, 10 is a passage you can look at to work that out. Okay, and then the multiple options. I like this one. You get more than one good answer to a question. And people choose their answer, and there may be more than one answer they choose, okay? Such as this. The current political climate in our country is, well, we're going to give you some options. It is similar to what it's always been. Really? It's better than what others have. Will always be a mess until Jesus returns. Sort of what it's like in our church. Something I could care less about. Has nothing to do with my relationship with God. It's similar to what it was like in Bible times. It's something that God cares about. And you always have to have other, because you haven't included everything here. What if I have another one? So give me an option that I could explain let me explain mine. Okay. We're trying to have a discussion. Yes, you can explain yours. Okay. You're taking a picture of this. I think it's available in your participants guide. So you have this stuff right here, but you can take pictures too. We'll do one more. What's a good way to love your enemy? There you have it. My wife and I lead a small group Bible study in our house on Tuesday nights, and this is the way we approach a passage of Scripture. And we have these kinds of things. If you want an example of this kind of stuff, Brad already held this up. 52 Bible studies that are set up with questions like what you see right here. Okay? Who could use this? Okay. Well, we have just finished on your evaluation sheet. We just finished involve. We're going to try thrive in 10 minutes. Ready to thrive in 10 minutes? Here we go. Thrive. Shift gears, delete, bring it up, and roll. What page are we in our participants guide? 45 or 47? Oh, yeah, 44 has some of the resources specifically for starting discussions at Advent Source. He also has a sheet of those. Page 45, ways to end a good discussion. So we thought we should give you that as well, okay? So you can read that on your own for ending a discussion. But here we are on page 47, thrive. Oh boy. Well, you see it on page 47, right? I'd like for you to jot down the names of some of the young people in your youth Sabbath school. Do you know the names of any of the young people? If you're not involved with youth Sabbath school, the Sabbath school you are involved with. But our focus right now is on youth Sabbath school. Can you jot down the names of 3 or 4 of the young people in your youth Sabbath school? If so, put that on page 47. There's some blank spots there. If you turn the page over to page 48, we have a bit of a continuum there on the top. It's a continuum, but we are not looking for the extremes. We're looking for some movement. D, what you were talking about, trying to move up the continuum, that's what this continuum is about. How do you move people from the left to the right? This is very, very basic stuff. It's pretty simple and logical, okay? Number 1, does that describe your youth Sabbath school? Number 2, I lead, you assist. Does that describe your youth Sabbath school? Number 3, you and I are co-leaders together. Number 4, you lead, and 5, you lead, and I participate. Do you see that flow? This is what you want to have happen with youth Sabbath school with your youth. So think back to the names you wrote on page 47. When you look at page 48 and you see those numbers 1 through 5, and there are lines underneath that, right? Where would you put those names on page 48? If they're under number 1, participate. Do you have any that you would consider to be assistants? Do you have any that you would consider to be co-leaders? What you want to do is you want to move them gradually along that line. I do not recommend that you say, Joey, we're glad you've been a participant here. Next week, you're in charge of Sabbath school. Go. That's not the way for them to thrive. You need to move them up, and some will move faster than others, right? Some people will not allow young people to lead. You have to be 40 years old before you can lead. I'm obviously suggesting the opposite. I'm saying by the time you're a teen, this transition should be happening. And again, some will get it faster than others. Some might lead better in discussion, and others might lead better in music. Some might lead better in setting up the room. Some might lead better in cleaning up the room. Some might lead better in sports, some might lead better in service. But you need to take a look at the young people you have and say, where is a place where I can move them from participant to assistant? And as you're doing that, you're thinking, what can I do to move them to be co-leaders? Think about it. If you are leading a lesson study and all you have is participants, that's fine and dandy. But what would happen if your participants are now assisting you? They're getting ready to lead. Now, if they co-lead with you, it's going to take you more time. So most people don't bother. This means if you co-lead with me, I have to meet with you before Sabbath. I don't have time. You live too far away. I don't believe in Skyping people. So we're not going to ever communicate. So we never co-lead. But think about this. If we are co-leading, that means whatever time we spend together talking about the lesson is like a focused lesson study with the two of us. I had 20 minutes for the lesson on Sabbath, but I had 60 minutes with two of my kids talking about the lesson. Bonanza. I just hit gold, right? And now when they lead and I assist them, I spent 2 hours with them because I was so worried. And please notice number 5. What is your role at number 5? You participate. That is, when the young person is leading, you don't sit in the back, you don't leave the room, you're in there actively following the leader. Because you are following, that makes the leader a leader. If you're just observing, you're actually taking away from their leadership. I didn't say take over, I said follow. In fact, I've been in a circle with young people where I've handed off the leadership to one of the young people and they ask a question and everybody in the circle looks to me. Why? Because I talk a lot, because I'm older than them. They expect me to say something. And I have found that if I will just look at the leader, I can feel the other faces looking at me, and I can just feel them moving to where I'm looking. It is weird, but that's what happens.
God
be here together. We are thankful that you brought us all here. We are most of all thankful that you are our Father. But you're not just a parent that's there, you're a parent that calls us deeper. You're a parent that calls us to get in, get our hands dirty, get our knees dirty, just surrender everything to you and know that you're going to bring us through. So as we leave this place, I pray that you send your angels, protect the roads, or the people that are on the roads, protect the animals, protect each of us as we go home, so that we may go home to serve. May we go forward with the information and knowledge that we've learned this weekend and use it to the fullest extent that we can to glorify you. Lord, again, we thank you that you love us. We thank you that you're a good Father. We love you. In your name we pray. Well, the Sabbath has ended. Happy week, everyone.